Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll be looking at the logic for printing this pattern. So, pattern programming is a very important topic from interview point of view as well as for students who are appearing for board exams or are in the from 9th to 12th standard. So, let's see how to do this. For this video, I'm using the syntax from Java, but if you can also apply the same logic to any other programming language. And if you need help with with anything related to this, you can always reach out to us. So let's start. So as mentioned in the previous video, for any pattern programming, it's very important for us to divide that pattern into rows and columns. So this helps us to write the logic based on what we have to print on each row and what we have to print on each column. So here if you can see that we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 rows. So let's start labeling them from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the rows. And if you look at the columns, let's start 0. This is the first row. This is the second row. This is the third. This is the fourth. This is the fifth. And this is the sixth. Okay, so one more thing to notice here. Once we are done with printing the stars, you don't have to worry of what comes next. So if you look at the first row, once you have printed the star here, there's no need to think of what we have to do for 4, 5, 6. We can omit the logic for that. Similarly, for the first row, once we are done printing these 3 stars, what is remaining is you can just ignore it. There's no need to apply any logic for that. So if we let's see how we should proceed with the logic for it. So if you see on the row number 0, we can see 0, 1, 2. So there's a space in the 0th column, first column and second column. So total there are 3 spaces. And so before the symbol there are 3, after the symbol there are 3 spaces. But as I mentioned earlier, we don't need to worry about what comes after the printing of the symbols. Next, on the next row, there are 2 spaces here and 2 spaces here. Next one, there's 1 space here, 1 space here. And in the last row, there are no spaces at all. Okay, so this is how we have to visualize it. So while printing also, once we start iterating through each row, we can see that first we have to print some spaces and then we have to print the symbol, whatever it is. In this case, it's an asterisk. So once we move to the first row, print 2 spaces and then print 3 stars. Next iteration, print 1 space and print 5 stars and so on. So let's see the logic. So this is the logic that we are applying for this pattern. There could be different ways of implementing it as well. So we are starting from I equal to 3, I greater than equal to 0, I minus minus. It's just like we are iterating through each row. Once that is done, the first loop that you see here, the loop with iterating variable as j, we are starting from I. So in the first iteration, I was 3. Okay, and then the same thing we are iterating up to 0. And then we are doing j minus minus. And we are printing a tab space. So what happens is in the first iteration, I is 3 and 3 up to 0. So 3, 2 and 1. So 3 spaces will get printed. Okay, so we are printing a tab space. Now we are done with this part, printing of the 3 spaces. Then we are left with 1 asterisk. So for that, there's another logic. We are taking the iterating variable as k. Let's start with 1 because the number of stars is starting with 1. And the number of stars that we actually have to print, it is always lesser than 7, which is the total number of columns, minus I multiplied by 2. So let's see how it is working. In the first iteration, I is 3. So 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. So 3 spaces here, 3 spaces here. That's how logically it means. So initially that 3 spaces will come over here. So k is equal to 1. K lesser than 7 minus I into 2. So k is lesser than 7 minus 6, which is 1. K plus plus. So there was a small correction here. It's not k lesser than, it's actually k lesser than equal to. Okay, so this for loop that we have, it's for printing the asterisk symbol. Okay, so we are looping for the first iteration of I. It will traverse from k equal to 1 up to k lesser than equal to 7 minus I multiplied by 2. So I was 3 initially, 3 into 2 is 6, 7 minus 6 is 1. Okay, so 1 time this star, and then we are printing a tab space just to ensure that the columns are properly visible. And once this is done, we are done with the first row, so we print a new line. Now in the next iteration, I becomes 2. We come inside the loop, j starts from I, which is 2, 2 greater than 0, 2 minus minus. So here we'll have two spaces that are printed, because j will get the value 2 and it will get the value as 1. So two spaces will get printed. Next we have the k loop. K will start from 1. It will go up to 7 minus I into 2. So 7 minus I is 3. 7 minus 2 into 2. So 7 minus 4, which is 3. Okay, and k plus plus. So up to from 1 to 3 it will iterate and it will print as asterisk symbol. So here we have 3 asterisk symbols printed. Same way it will print the pattern for the rest of the rows as well. After each iteration of I, we are printing a new line so that the control moves to this new line. And this is a pyramid pattern. It's very commonly asked in interviews, and it's a bit different than the generally asked pattern programming questions. So you can go through this logic. If you have any questions, please let us know. And apart from this, if you have any other computer science or ENTC concept requirements, if you need videos for it or help in any of those topics, do reach out to us. And if you like the video, do like it, share it with your friends and relatives, and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you.